Yes, I'm going to be doing webcam videos from this point onward because, well, I made an unbreakable vow using a sonic screwdriver that I would not use my brother's camera again without his permission. You can't mess with that. This is again one of these situations when I realized, oh crap, I have to do a vlog. But thankfully, I actually thought of this idea in the shower. Again. You may be seeing a trend. I think of a lot of creative things while in the shower because, I sing a lot and I write songs in the shower and then I talk to myself and then I think of vlog topics, which is going to be writing, my writing specifically. I realize I'm not really deviating at all from my previous rant topics. It's really just expounding further on the subject. First it was fanfiction, then it was slash fiction, which was a denomination of that. Now I'm going to be talking, because I got into this huge discussion with myself about characterization and characters. This is the difficult part where I try to recreate my mental thought processes that happened while I was in the shower. One thing I do remember is the author's note from The Fault in Our Stars where John talks about, I'm just going to read it. This is not so much an author's note as it is an author's reminder of what was printed in small type a few pages ago. This book is a work of fiction. I made it up. Neither novels or their readers benefit from the attempts to divine whether any facts hide within a story. Such efforts attack the very idea that made-up stories can matter, which is sort of the foundational assumption of our species. I appreciate your cooperation in this matter. Because I was just thinking, I'm writing a high school type novel called Gloomy Eyes. That's a working title. It makes sense, but the reason for the title is given away in the first chapter, so I'm thinking about changing it, but it's my working title. It's about a slightly cynical, deep-thinking musical prodigy. And no, it's not about me. Because when I was thinking about this, because I'm pretty sure that what he was referring to is, most people assuming that The Fault in Our Stars is about Esther, which it is not. They're two very different people. Because their situations are similar doesn't mean they're the same person. This is what I was just thinking about the characters that I'm doing in my novel Gloomy Eyes. They're not people that I know. They are their own person. And they may hold similarities and symbols and metaphors and whatchamahoozits from things in my life. And yes, Mara Lee Anna Marie Falk has some similar thought processes that I do, and some of my mental, sometimes make it into an internal monologue just because we're similar, but the way that both of us came to this mental conclusion is completely different. The reason I am somewhat cynical and, just so deep and kind of have a really objective view of society and emotions and whatnot, I came to this, through falling in love with a guy and just living in this life and watching and seeing this world. But with Mara, it was a bit different. I guess these are technically spoilers, but it's important for understanding the character even outside of the novel, because I don't even know if it's ever going to get published, but I think this is a really interesting discussion to have. Mara has come to the conclusion that emotions are completely useless and futile and just overall frivolous and superficial. Hazel, no. I created Mara and Gloomy Eyes a long time before Fault in Our Stars, even though there are some things that kind of seeped through my brain after reading this book. Yeah. What happened to Mara is that, her mother and her father had a very nasty breakup, and her mother went in complete emotional withdrawal, and Mara was clear-eyed enough to see, she loved her father, but that love and that emotion just led to ruin and more negative emotions. So from then, Mara became extremely cynical and rather detached about life and about human interactions, and the only thing that she has left to hold on to is her music and her musical talent. This is not who I am. This is who I fear I will become, I suppose. I don't want to be her because she's utterly miserable and a complete potty mouth and unsatisfied with everything that is and everything that she does at the beginning of the book. I'm having a lot of fun with Mara and the other main character, Alan Jensen. I need to change his last name. And yes, people who know me might think Alan as in Alan Young, the amazing tuba prodigy / the closest thing our town has to a rock star, charismatic, personality, great guy. Alan Jensen and Alan Young are completely different people, but similar in some respect, again, just because the nature of their personalities. Alan Jensen is not based off of a specific person, although his situation is very similar and mirrors someone that I once was in love with. His name was Guy, and they're similar because they decided at one point in their life that they had to be this person, this wonderful, kind, benevolent, loving person. They had to be this person. So they became that person, leaving whatever they once were behind to rot in a disgusting, stinking pile at the very bottom of their soul. The man that I once was in love with, he was this person. He was always so kind and so wonderful to everyone. But when you looked deep enough into his eyes, you could see something you would never, ever want to see. You saw someone who was utterly disgusted with the person that he had to be. Disgusted that he couldn't be what he thought he had to be. Disgusted that he couldn't live up to God's expectations the way he thought he had to. My theory was that he took the die to oneself and become only who Christ needs you to be a little too far. It is not to completely forget the person that you want to be. It is to come to terms with the sinner that you once were and the person that you know you never want to be, not shove the skeleton away in a closet. Again, the way that they came to be this person is extremely different. Alan Jensen saw the death of his wonderful, beautiful mother and decided that he needed to be that person for everyone else who was left living in the world. This made him come to hate himself and become a dark, disheveled, and broken person inside. Perhaps this is what drew them together, Mara and Alan. I am infinitely intrigued by the deepest parts of character cognition and just these. It's so wonderful to me to be able to write these characters and just watch them go sometimes. Honestly, things that they do and things that happen aren't always under my control. I've mentioned this before, I think, with the fanfiction, where I just wrote something and they did something completely unexpected. Although tangential, I wanted to share something that happened to me today while writing a fanfiction. Okay. Alright, this should work. It's like, what? Mayu's pregnant? No joke. Anyway, I think I've bored you enough. But I'm probably going to be talking about this more because writing is so much fun, and honestly, this is going to sound cheesy, but you know, the way to write is not to be some amazing thinker. It's not to be some literary genius. That comes with understanding people and understanding the world around you and coming to terms with everything in this world. And then just seeing how it affects people and watching it unfold. That's really all it comes down to. When you've lived in this world as long as I have, 17 years, you come to understand it. Sign off for something. Blech.